Look around any starting line today, and you will see amateur athletes tackling grueling, professional-level endurance challenges like marathons and triathlons. Yet they have to balance these massive physical demands with the reality of full-time jobs and everyday life. To manage this, many rely on traditional, multi-week, fixed periodization plans. These are strict training schedules, originally designed for professional competitors whose only job is to train and recover. But a rigid spreadsheet lacks context. It demands a high-intensity interval session on a Tuesday, regardless of whether you spent Monday dealing with looming work deadlines, screaming toddlers, or sheer sleep deprivation. Completing a scheduled workout under those conditions often leads to physical stagnation. Up to 20% of people on fixed plans become non-responders, showing zero improvement, or push themselves straight into non-functional overtraining and accumulated fatigue. To actually survive the training cycle and adapt to the physical stress, working athletes have to abandon blind obedience to a calendar. They need a way to measure their true daily physiological readiness. The biological truth is that a healthy human heart does not beat like a perfectly rigid metronome. The time between each individual heartbeat constantly fluctuates by tiny fractions of a second. This rhythmic variation is controlled directly by the brainstem. Your autonomic nervous system sends continuous signals to the sinoatrial node, the heart's natural pacemaker, adjusting your pulse to meet the demands of your environment. This table illustrates the process. The sympathetic branch of your nervous system acts as the gas pedal. By releasing norepinephrine, it increases your heart rate to deal with stress, which compresses the distance between beats and decreases your overall heart rate variability. Conversely, the parasympathetic branch acts as the brakes. Using the vagus nerve and the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, it slows the heart down. This increases the space between beats, creating higher variability. High heart rate variability, or HRV, proves your nervous system is in a parasympathetic state, recovered and ready to handle new physical stress. A low HRV signals that your sympathetic system is dominant and your body is in systemic overload. For athletes, the most reliable way to measure this daily recovery is a metric called RMSSD, or the root mean square of successive differences. It is highly sensitive to vagal tone and can be measured in just 60 seconds every morning. This study shows the results of a clinical trial comparing athletes who use traditional fixed-load programs against those who dynamically adapted their daily training based on their morning HRV readings. The data shows a clear advantage. The HRV-guided group improved their 3,000-meter run times by 2.1%. That is nearly double the 1.1% improvement seen in the traditional training group. Even more surprising, the HRV-guided group achieved these superior results while performing 25% fewer high-intensity training sessions over the course of the study. Timing matters far more than sheer volume. Forcing a high-intensity interval workout onto a suppressed nervous system does not build fitness. It simply destroys your body's ability to adapt. Today, modern smartwatches and rings use photoplethysmography, optical sensors measuring blood volume changes, to track HRV continuously. This allows athletes to see exactly how their daily lifestyle choices quietly sabotage their nervous system overnight. This table details the impact of confounding lifestyle factors on HRV. Alcohol is a severe disruptor. Consuming even 1 to 2 drinks heavily suppresses vagal tone and causes a drastic decrease in RMSSD that can last for up to 17 hours. The data also highlights how poor sleep and psychological stress elevate the coefficient of variation, or CV. A high CV signals autonomic instability, meaning your body is struggling to maintain homeostasis and has reduced adaptive capacity. This reveals an unavoidable biological reality. To your central nervous system, all stress is cumulative. It does not differentiate between the physical strain of a heavy barbell and the psychological strain of a sleepless night. By tracking the space between heartbeats, HRV acts as a master filter. It translates the noise and chaos of a working adult's life into a single objective signal of your body's true biological state. Applying this data requires a dynamic decision tree. The first practical step is establishing a strict 3-week baseline window to map your unique, normal RMSSD range under stable conditions. This diagram illustrates the daily protocol. When your morning reading lands in the green zone, within or slightly above your baseline, it indicates full physiological recovery. You are authorized to complete your planned training. Crucially, high-intensity training sessions should only be performed during these periods of parasympathetic predominance, when your body is actually capable of processing the heavy stimulus. If your reading drops into the yellow zone, you have accumulating physiological stress and must pivot to low-intensity work. A drop into the red zone mandates complete systemic rest to prevent overtraining. True athletic success for the working amateur requires letting go of arbitrary schedules. By replacing calendar obedience with deep biological fluency, you can orchestrate your training to match your body's exact capacity to adapt.